Everyone who has millions started from zero, from this to that, from nothing to everything. As a divine healer, let me show you the blueprint to heal your deepest wounds, step into your destiny, and become the happiest person you know. My name is Steph Mahony, and welcome to your Million Dollar Life podcast. Welcome to your Million Dollar Life podcast. My name is Steph Mahony. I am a divine channel, healer, and the founder of your Million Dollar Life, a life that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with feeling like $1 million. It is the beauty that shines from within you when you're healed, transformed, and step into your higher purpose. Your $1 million life is your best life, and this podcast is a roadmap of how to get you there. On this episode today, I'm going to help you pivot to get back into alignment to living a life that you truly love. Because here's the secret. Most of us are trapped in a cycle of unconsciously manifesting, miscreating a life that we don't want. So today I'm going to show you how to get from this place of lack, of scarcity, of victimhood, of feeling like you're living on the sidelines of life, and pivoting you into the place where you can manifest your dreams. And I'm going to also share my own personal story of how I almost went homeless and pregnant with my family to manifesting my mega dream house. And if I can do this, you can too. So let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about why it's so important to have clear thoughts and intentions of only what you desire. Many times we focus on the lack. I don't want this. And whatever we focus on and whatever we say in this place of I don't want, it unconsciously comes into our thought pattern, and our subconscious takes that as a command and will always attract that same frequency. Even though it's something we don't want, it will say and command that we do want. So let me put this into perspective by sharing my own personal story and tell me if this is something that you can relate to. Many years ago, we were looking to move. Me and my husband wanted to move, and his dream, his mega-sized, God-sized dream was to buy a huge property, live in the country, have a riding lawnmower, and live his best life in this beautiful, serene property. And as a city girl, this was not my dream, but I loved him so much. And this was we're newlyweds. And I was like, if you love this, I love this too. Let's just go for it. So I found this property, which I immediately didn't feel in alignment with, but it was beautiful. It had so much potential. And I was like, you know what? Maybe we can make this work. So number one, always feel your inner truth. If your inner gut is telling you something, that is your truth. And if you're not speaking your truth, then you are not in alignment to living your truth, because God can't bless who you pretend to be. You can only be blessed with what you're showing up and saying and commanding to the universe. So I held my opinions back and I was like, okay, honey, let's do it. I'm not really sure, but let's make this happen. So we bought this property, and sure enough, I really tried my best, but it was not something I wanted. And I became very resentful, and I was only focused on how much I hated living in the country, how much fear these mice kept scaring me of popping in my house. I hated the feeling of living in an old home. I hated the feeling of feeling isolated. I hate it. And this was my command to the universe. I kept talking about how much I hated my circumstances. And whatever you feel becomes your commanding thought to the universe. And as a natural manifester, you begin to attract more circumstances that will always reflect back to you how you're feeling, because the universe is neutral and God always says yes. It will take our inner truth, our inner feeling, and just mirror it back to us. So, as I hated the feeling of this isolation, I kept having people tell me how far I lived. As I hated the feeling of living with all of these mice and coexisting because these previous owners never took care of a rodent issue, I kept attracting into my own life more and more of these situations, because we always attract what we fear. This hatred grew and it grew until it bubbled over me. I was blinded by all of the blessings that I did have and all the gratitude that I did have of how actually it really was beautiful, and how happy my son was, and all the experiences and ATV rides and koi fish ponds and all of the beauty it did have. But I was blinded by this hatred and I couldn't snap out of it. And my husband, being the loving person that he is, he's like, Steph, I just want to make you happy. Like, if this is not it, that's okay. Like, let's go find a home that you do love. So I was like, yes, I was just so desperate to get out of there. And this is the key word. My energy was in this place of desperation. So I attracted a real estate agent who mirrored that back to me. She's like, Stephanie, you need to get out of this house fast. There are a lot of beautiful houses out there and you can get anything you want. You're going to get top dollar. You just need to sell this first. I'm like, yes, get me out of this house. Get me out of this house. And it was this energy of desperation. So what happened is this real estate agent sold our house. And because my belief in this property wasn't grand, we accepted the first offer, not feeling like we could ever achieve more. So we sold conditionally with the intention that these new retirees who found their dream home were going to sign off once the inspection went through, which was very standard here in the Toronto area. So at first I felt the greatest relief. I'm like, yes, I'm out of here. I am so happy to like get out. So I felt like invincible. I'm like, let's go find our dream home. And sure enough, that week of her bringing us out to see homes, nothing compared. I didn't like what I was seeing. I didn't like what I was sensing in these communities. The vibration was off. The feeling was off. And not only that, I saw in this market, in this time frame, that homes were selling over asking price by 100,000 and 200,000 and 300,000. And this was escalating in this week alone. So this energy of desperation that I was feeling just to get out of my house, all of a sudden felt this energy of desperation where I was like, oh my gosh, we sold at this price and everything else just got more expensive. Like, I don't even like the houses that I'm seeing now. And now we're going to have to overbuy. So that same energy level was now mirrored back into this place of, well, now you can't afford what you actually want. Like, what do you actually want? So it was this place of not being aligned. This place of desperation was blinding my judgment, was blinding my decisions, and kept me stuck in this place of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I felt so hopeless. I was newly pregnant with a baby. And I remember sitting at a restaurant with my girlfriend, and we're just eating, and she was talking about how happy she was that we're finally selling this home. My husband was so happy because he thought I was so happy, but inside I'm just like, oh my gosh, I know I'm supposed to be really happy, but I saw the grander picture and I was like, I am pregnant. And we sold a house. We legally sold a house that's going to be waived. The conditions are going to be waived in just a couple hours. And I have nowhere to go. I'm pregnant. I have no home. I'm going to be laying my baby in a manger because I have no home to go to. And I just couldn't believe that this energy that was so unlike me caused me to make such a sporadic decision because of this blinded hatred that I had in a house that actually was pretty beautiful. And it caused me to make a decision that was irrevocable. So I sat there as she was so excited, cheersing me on my new chapter. My husband was calling me, Steph, just a couple more hours to go. And meanwhile, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is going to become very real in a couple hours. Like I'm literally going to have no home. So I had this prayer and I had this intention. And at the time, I didn't even realize the power of surrender. I didn't realize the power of intention. I didn't realize alignment. Like I didn't know what these words were. But in this place of pure desperation and just being scared, so scared of what is my future going to hold. Now I have another child to take care of. Am I going to repeat the cycle in another house that I don't love? Is this going to continue? Where are we going to go? Where am I going to be grounding my family? You know, these were the cycles that kept coming around and around my head. And as I was daydreaming off, looking at my girlfriend, I was like, you know, I said this prayer in my head. I was like, guys, if anybody's out there listening, I really would prefer not to sell my home. And I want to do this right. I want to find a home that I truly love. And I want to make this home into something beautiful for somebody else. And I said this pure intention in my heart. Nobody heard it but me, but it was a sincere, pure intention. And I wrapped up dinner. I went home, and 12 o'clock was our cutoff of them waiving the conditions. And wouldn't you know, at the 11th hour at like 11:58, we got a text message from a realtor saying that they didn't waive the conditions. That this dream home that they found that they're going to retire in, they were just tire kicking on just a couple of expenses that they didn't want to pay for. And when that happened, I was like, yes, I was jumping on the couch. And I was like, I don't understand stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I thought you wanted to sell this home. Like, I do, but not in this place, you know? So I had to really come truth. This is what I'm saying. Like, you have to speak your truth, your highest truth from a place that's healed, not desperate. So I told him how I felt. And I told our real estate agent, I was like, just take this off the market. Like, I'm so done. And she was so mad at us. And I was like, I just don't want anything to do with this. So I had this sense of relief and I was smiling, so, so happy going to bed. And not that I wanted to live in this place forever, but I knew that I didn't have to do this the wrong way anymore. And wouldn't you know it, the next morning, we actually got a call from the other realtor saying how their client made the biggest mistake. They had woken up. Their children was congratulating them for finding their dream home so they can retire. And they're like, no, we didn't waive the condition. And they got so mad at them. And they asked us for this house back. And I was like, no chance. So that is a miracle, my friends, a miracle of how I was able to shift in energy and really come into true alignment of this place of desperation and realizing that I needed to flip it. I needed to do something different because it was literally chasing me and it would have continued to chase me. But I surrendered it all and I was asking for divine alignment. So what happened next is that I followed through with what that sincere intention was in my heart. I told the universe, I told in my mind and my heart, I was like, I know that this is not for me, but I started to see how beautiful and how blessed and how grateful I actually was that this property was stunning. It was gorgeous. And maybe it wasn't for me. Maybe I'm not cut out to have these, sprawling grounds and a koi fish pond and all of these manicured flowers. And maybe this was something that was somebody else's dream. So I set this pure intention in my heart and I was like, guys, please allow me to use my hands, my heart, or effort to make this into somebody else's dream home. And I pray that while we're doing that, that somebody else is creating their dream home for us. So while this was happening, we put our blood, our sweat, our tears, my energy started changing. I was looking at our home as this beautiful place that we're going to make into somebody else's dream come true. We're picking out colors and styles. And we're like, I wonder what these people would really like. And like, let's do this. I think somebody would really like this one day. And it was coming from this healed place of love. And when we were going through this process, I started to feel inspired to go back onto MLS with a fresh new set of eyes. And the homes that I was looking at the time were really small, they're very dark, and it wasn't something that I loved. And I felt inspired to open my mindset and just explore bigger. What would I really love if money was no issue? And I started looking at these homes, and it was $1 million more than I could ever afford. But I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, I would really like this home. So, for example, our home at that time, this is Toronto prices. None of these things make sense. I have no words. I mean, it's all very expensive, but at the time, our home was like $1 million, and everything I was looking at was $2 million. And I'm like, I would really love that, but I don't have $2 million for a house. Like, that's crazy. But I kept getting this thought in my head. But what if you can manifest anything you want? What would that look like? What would your dream home look like? So I was inspired to take out a fresh sheet of paper and I wrote our dream home and I had it dated and I started to list what it is that I wanted in our dream home. And one by one, I was really focused on how I wanted to feel. So for example, I wanted to feel safe and I wanted to feel like a beautiful community surrounded by children knocking on our door, because my current reality was that we're in the country and there was no children that was living there. I wanted to have, this butler's kitchen and a walk-in pantry and a movie theater in the basement. And these are all things, stretch dreams, stretch goals that I never could have imagined that would ever be possible, because these were things in this $2 million home that I was seeing. And I was like, well, no, like what if? Just write it out as if. What if? And this is actually what I wrote. I'm not sure if it's going to come out separate, but for those listening online, let me read this to you. This was one sheet of paper and it said, our vision for a new home. So I said I wanted to be on a cul-de-sac, access to walking trails. I wanted to be central, a pool-sized backyard oasis. I wanted Timmy to have room for a theater, a bar, an indoor workshop. I wanted to have a large eat-in kitchen, upstairs laundry, a pantry, butler's kitchen. I wanted kids to be playing on the street surrounded by friends. And I wanted to be sipping coffee on our front porch, watching our kids and neighborhood kids play. These are all the things that I desired. And I even showed it to Timmy when I was finished. Like, are we missing anything? Like, what would our best life look like? And it was coming from this place of excitement and curiosity and love and new beginnings, not from this place of desperation. And we finished it off, we smiled, and I was just so excited. And I just like tucked it away, not thinking about anything. And that was in October. And in the spring, wouldn't you know, that this place came up on the market, and it was our dream home. And for some reason, it was overlooked, not only by us, but by so many people that they dropped it at a price that we could actually afford. So my $2 million home ended up being in our price range, where we became the proud owners of this dream home that was way bigger, more beautiful than we could ever have imagined for ourselves at the time. And all of this continues to be a dream come true for us. It's a place of happiness, safety, love. And on one of these, actually made two of these, and one of them was in my journal. I actually said how I wanted my parents to live right next door or like right by. And I wanted, these little hands to be knocking on my door to play with my children. And sure enough, a year later, my parents ended up retiring and moving 4 minutes away, just up the road. And now we have all of my kids' best friends living on our street in a cul-de-sac with a house that has these, a theater and butler's kitchen, all of these things. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that if this can happen for me, this can happen for you too. Maybe you're not desiring to move. Maybe you're not desiring to have a butler's kitchen, and that's okay. But this is something that I truly realized that I wanted at a point in my life. And if I had continued down the energy of desperation, I would have been in a very different pathway where this energy of feeling ungrounded, unsafe, unhappy was chasing me, because it literally was in all of my lens and all the perspective that I saw. What I needed to do was realize that there was a cycle, and I shifted and I flipped it by focusing on what I was grateful for, what did make me happy, what I did truly love. And by shifting my mindset on victimhood to empowerment, by victimhood of, oh my gosh, I hate where I live, to empowerment of, I realize this isn't for me, but I'm going to make this into something so beautiful for somebody else. That is what allowed me then to attract this energy, because when we bought it, it was exactly the same things that I would have chosen. My prayer came true, where somebody was creating this home long before we were even here, but chose everything that I would have. And if this can happen to me for a home, this can happen to me anywhere. And this can happen for you in anything that's important in your life. So when you are looking at your own life right now, I want you to do an evaluation. Everything that is going well and making you happy and bringing you peace and joy and happiness, I want you to continue doing that, because you are in alignment to fulfilling what it is that you're meant to do. And dreams are always revealed behind bigger dreams, and that will all come at perfect alignment. But if you feel really good right now with where you live, with your relationships, with school, if this is something, if you're studying for something that's creating lots of excitement and passion, you know that you're following your destiny because you feel the sense of inner joy. But if you're like me on the other stance, where you are feeling this place of desperation, you have to know that your life will manifest based on your strongest thoughts. Whatever you keep thinking about will always reflect back to you in your life. And many times we attract what we fear because the emotion of fear is a lot stronger and magnetic than the emotion of happiness and calmness and stillness. So, in this place of shifting and pivoting your life, I want you to get into alignment to realize what is working really well that I love, continue doing that. And whatever is not working well, you need to take a look at this and understand what it is that you're thinking about. And what would that look like if you flipped it? What would that look like if you were in a job that you really hated? The worst thing you can do is be in a job that you really hate and pretend and keep visualizing yourself being somewhere else. What you need to do is get into alignment by either quitting a job that you really hate and applying for a job that you love, or stay in the job that you really hate and start shifting your perspective and being really grateful that you have this job, and decide that you're going to be the best employee, show up every day with the best attitude, show up and ask your manager how you can help and support them, become a star at your job, and look to make every moment perfect. Because when you can take this energy of I hate my job, I hate my job, I hate my job, and neutralize the spiky energy and just focus on what you do actually like, what you are good, and magnify that, then suddenly you're going to be on a spotlight where you're going to be a prime employee, ready and prepared and magnetized to the next job. That's why you don't have to chase anything. You can attract everything you want in your life as long as you're in the right alignment. I want you to take a look at all of the energy that you feel really stuck in. It could be that God's not promoting you because God's looking to change you first. Many times we're stuck in our circumstances until we heal from them. One of the best ways to heal that I've learned now as an energy healer, as a Reiki master, and as a holy light intuitive healer is that healing the spiky energy within us that's trapping us and neutralizing us allows us to rise above the battlefield and examine and see our life from a top-down perspective, where you're able to see your circumstances, you're able to see your world, the way you respond to things from a higher level perspective, because you can't solve problems in the same frequency that they've been created in. You have to rise above the frequency, and then you'll have that inner clarity. But when you're able to energetically heal this spikiness within you, then you'll be able to have a clear level perspective. It's as if you're taking a ladder and stepping above the clouds and seeing the sun, because the sun is always there. It's the clouds in our mind that cause us confusion and we don't know what to do. So if you're looking to step into alignment, I would encourage you to take these steps of action, is determine what it is that you truly desire. How do you feel about it? If you feel happy about it, amazing, keep going. If you don't feel happy about it, flip it and see what it is that you can do by showing up into the world differently, by responding differently to it, and realizing that perhaps this could actually be a test. And I'm going to come out of this test by being my best self and my highest potential instead of a green, angry monster who's stuck here forever. So take a look at this, and also take a look at your whole life and begin to write down what it is that you truly desire in this world intentionally. Because when you can come from a frequency of what you love versus the frequency of why you're so desperate to leave your circumstance right now, you're going to see that you're going to have a higher level perspective of the things that bring you true joy. And I want you to just take a pen, or actually take a pencil so you can erase it, and just list 10 things that you truly desire that would make your heart so happy, give you ignited passion, excitement, creativity, something that bubbles you up, that lights your inner fire, something you could do forever and not get paid for it, something that sparks your curiosity, that you want to keep leaning in more and learn and research. So take this pencil and write down 10 things that you like, that you would like to do right now. And every day, look at this. And if you see what you are desiring, I want you to prioritize them and write those top things first. And you may notice the more you focus on this, you're going to actually be refining them. Refinement isn't that you made a mistake by writing the wrong thing in the first place. Refinement is alignment. It's actually pushing you into alignment of what is truly meant for you. But the first step is taking the first step in writing something down. And as you keep looking at this, inner clarity is going to open in an expanded consciousness. You're going to see what it is that you truly desire. And this was my practice of writing down what I truly desired in a home that was really important for me at this time. And I know I've healed from this place because now I don't search for any homes because I'm really happy in my own home. Now I've expanded. Now I'm on my next adventure in doing this as I shift and pivot into a new area of my life. But it's really important to understand what it is that you truly desire. In my case, it was listing the features of what I would have in my dream home. For you, it could be anything in your home that you desire, whether it's finding love in a new partner, in a new relationship. Perhaps you've just experienced a divorce and you're starting over. And what does that new life look like for you? Perhaps it's renewed health. Perhaps it's a new job. Or you're moving into a new city that you've always desired to live. Just write down your God-sized dreams and break it down into little pieces, but really in the perspective of how you feel. What would that feel like if you got it? And keep erasing it and refining it and prioritizing it. And what's going to happen is that soon you too are going to receive little nudges, little sparks of intuition, of inspired action, of something that's nudging you to maybe take a different road home or to research or to do something that requires you to take action. And the key is that whenever you receive these sparks, you have to action immediately. Like not 5 seconds ago, like you need to action right now, because at that time when you action, you're going to actually do it. You're not going to forget. And when you take action, you're going to open up a portal of opportunity, which is then going to open up a portal of another opportunity and then another opportunity. And this is how you can begin quantum jumping timelines, by saying yes and doing what you feel inspired to do. Not through obligation and not through this will of you have to, but through this magnetized pull that's bringing you somewhere. And if you show up as your best self, with your best attitude, with an outlook of focusing on the cherry on top, I promise you that your life is going to pivot into divine alignment and you are going to shoot faster than you have ever experienced before. The first thing that you should always do, though, is surrender it all. Realize that in the areas of your life that things are not going your way, that you love, release it. Ask for something better, this or better. There's this place in the Course of Miracles that I love. And what it says is that if you're not sure what to do, then close your eyes and listen to these words. Speak. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? If you can write down these words and ask God, ask the universe, ask your angels, ask source energy to answer this, to bring this to you. They will. Ask and you shall receive. And you're going to see how life is going to start shifting you fairly quickly into this place. And you're going to feel inspired, and you're going to know it's them showing you this next breadcrumb in front of you, because you're going to feel so excited and you're going to light up, and it's going to feel like inner peace. And it may feel really scary, and that's okay. But it's going to pull you into the directions which is going to reveal a higher pathway for you. So I thank you with all my heart for joining me today. If this is something that resonates with you, please like, share with a friend. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you're looking to step into a higher timeline of your own destiny, take a look at the comments below and check out the blueprint to your $1 million life, a life that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with feeling like $1 million. It's healing, transforming, and stepping into your higher purpose. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. If you are ready to heal your deepest wounds and manifest your greatest life, I welcome you to explore the blueprint to your $1 million life, the divinely channeled program that is creating miracles for people all over the world. Visit www.stephmahony.com.